What's going on, guys? Asian Guy here, bringing you a video to guide you through, for those of you who are confused, early game players or free to play players, which units you should be looking to farm up first of all when playing One Piece Treasure Cruise. Whether or not you're on the global or Japan server, it's basically the same thing, and I will walk you through step by step. Now, the reason I put the Japanese only units at the top here is because eventually they will be coming to global as well with version 10.0. I don't know how many of you will be watching this in the future, but I'm sure there will be some new players who join the game on global in the future and will have these units available to them at the time. So I just wanted to future-proof the video, putting that disclaimer out there. The second disclaimer I need to put out there is that you guys need to have at least a very basic understanding of the game. You need to understand captain abilities, you need to understand special abilities, you need to know the difference between an attack boost and an orb boost, and you need to know what limit breaking is, and that is like the very base standard of stuff. As long as you're paying attention in game, all of that is explained, and you can look those things up as well. I will leave some relevant links in the description down below that will help guide you through. So let's begin. Alrighty, so the layout of this list is basically going to go in how difficult or how long it's going to take, as Jojo walks past me on the screen right now, how long it's going to take to grind out these units. So the very first row, very easy, you can do it like this, and then the fifth row is going to be the units that are going to take you a very long time to grind out, but you should grind them out as well. And before people are pointing out, oh, you're missing X, Y, or Z units, we've basically chosen units that are universally useful. You can use them on almost any team and they will have an effective usage there, and they're also not too difficult to farm up. So let me go through and explain what you should be doing. So if you are on the version 10.0 or after version of this game, global is not currently on version 10 right now, but Japan is. Global will eventually get there. The very first free to play units you should absolutely be looking to max and farm out are these super type straw hats. They are very easy to obtain, and there will be a link to the Chopper Man missions where you can get them from in the description down below. The Chopper Man missions are basically a reward system. As long as you do X or Y task in game and you complete it, the Chopper Man will give you some more rewards for that, and some of these rewards are going to be these new straw hats, which are very good for free to play units. Again, if you're on the Japan version of the game and you don't know where the translations are, first link in the description down below. The subreddit is a very good resource for information on OPTC Japan. Moving on to the second row, guys, we have got some relatively easy piece of content for you guys. We have got Raid Bellamy, Neo Fortnite Monet, we have Raid Arlong, 60 Stamina Raid Kuma, and then we have the Underground Coliseum versions of Morley and Hody Jones. Now, for those of you who don't know the difference between Underground and Chaos, Chaos is always a guaranteed drop where you can farm up these units. It's more efficient to farm on Chaos, but it's difficult. It's very difficult compared to Underground, whereas Underground you have maybe like a 40-50% drop at the character, and then as well as a skill book as well, which is basically as good as getting the character as well. You only need one copy of the character to begin with, and then you want to max up their special, and eventually you want to farm up an additional 8 copies of every character to max limit break them. But limit break is not something you need to worry about very early in the game. If you are very new to the game and you only have a basic understanding of it, don't worry too much about limit break. So the very first thing you should be looking to do is getting yourself a universal orb booster. So an orb booster is going to boost your orbs. It's pretty self-explanatory. Bellamy does this by 1.75 times for all units. He has a HP cut as well, and he also has color beneficial orbs in his kit. So he makes sign-in orbs beneficial to your team when you pop his special. So he's a pretty good unit. 40 stamina, really easy raid as well. And if you don't know how to do any of these raids, there's plenty of videos online. You just got to search up their name, like 40 stamina raid Bellamy, and you'll find an endless amount of teams, an endless amount of guides as well to be able to farm them up as well. Monet is a Fortnite unit, a Neo Fortnite, again, quite easy to farm up as well, and she has a lot of good utility in her kit as well as some orb manipulation too. Likewise with Arlong, orb manipulation, a little bit of utility, and if you have slash units on your team, he will boost their orbs as well for 3 turns. A very good unit just for the utility, even if you can't use the orb boost. The fourth run here, or the fourth person here, is going to be Bartholomew Kuma. An orb booster, 1.75 times, quite outdated nowadays, but he does manipulate block orbs, just like Arlong does, will also manipulate block orbs. Very good mechanic to have in the game, because block orbs are very prevalent even in the early game. You want to be getting this raid Kuma as well, but if you already have an orb booster, in your team or an orb manipulator, maybe you pulled one as a rare recruit and you already know what their special does, then don't worry too much about it because it should be a-okay. You don't really need to have Kuma. As long as you have substitutes for these units, guys, you can skip over them. This is not like a fixed, you have to go in this exact order, because all of these are rotating on a permanent basis, so it doesn't matter what order you farm them up in. It's basically just how difficult they are and the kind of priority that you should be looking at to do. So Colosseum Morley and Colosseum Holy are both very difficult Colosseums at the highest level, but you can farm them on Underground, which is like the easy mode for them. It is going to take longer, but it is absolutely worth it, especially Holy Jones is really good utility. Removes 5 turns of Bind, Despair, and I believe Silence, which is really useful and something that doesn't really have a replacement right now. So it's a very good free-to-play unit to farm up. Now the third row is, we're going to move it up a little bit in difficulty, are the 60 stamina raids. Now these are all available permanently. They do rotate on a daily basis, so look out for them, and they're based on their colors or typings on which day they're going to be available for. I don't know the exact days, but you will be able to check just by going over to the raid bosses stages in your extra island section. So first of all, we have got Raid Lucci, and I put him first because if you have super type units, this is going to be a walk in the park. The super type Straw Hats on Japan will absolutely go through this Lucci, no problems. It's like a hot knife through butter. Very easy raid to do. Then we have Raid 60 stamina Rayleigh, young Rayleigh. He's a universal attack booster, but this Rayleigh you can skip over if you have other attack boosters in your box. If you don't have an attack booster though for your teams, then you definitely want to pick up this Rayleigh. 1.75 times attack booster and orb shuffler as well. We have one of the best damage reducing units in the game, and this is going to be Raid Barto. Raid Barto is an absolute must have unit. He's very clutch. Even in end game, he's really good. Next up we have Raid Zora. Now Raid Zora is quite a difficult 60 stamina, so you can farm him on 40 stamina. In fact, you can farm all of these raids on 40 stamina. Likewise to Underground Colosseums, it's just going to take a lot longer because you don't have the guaranteed drop. So if you can farm the 60 stamina, then definitely farm the 60 stamina over the 40 stamina. But if you can't farm the 60 stamina, then farm the 40 stamina. That's absolutely a-okay. This Raid Zora is really good at removing enemy defensive effects, and he's also a color affinity booster for driven and slasher units. Really good unit to have, and his support ability, so you want to farm up an extra 5 copies, is really good as well. Next up and last on this row is going to be Raid Cracker. Now Raid Cracker, likewise to previous units in your team, is going to be an orb manipulator and a HP cutter. So he's going to make all your orbs into Dex orbs, the green orbs, and he'll make them all beneficial. So it's a full border matching orbs, as well as shuffling away block orbs, which is again a very annoying mechanic in the game and a very useful special. So this one you definitely want to farm up as well. Okay, now we move on to some of the big boys and big girls. We have the fourth row. The first 3 units here, Treasure Map Big Mom, Treasure Map Robin, and Treasure Map Nami, are all only available from the Treasure Map ticket store. You can no longer farm them. You have to farm up tickets from the Treasure Map game mode, which happens once every month for around 4 or 5 days. You really want to farm these units up, guys. So how you're going to do this is you just do the Treasure Map mode, keep playing it. Eventually you'll get tickets and more tickets and more tickets. And when you eventually get enough tickets, you want to go over to the ticket shop in Treasure Map mode and buy this unit once, and then buy all of the limit break items. There should be one item that you can buy which has all the limit break items that you need for these units. And at this point, I'm hoping you already understand what limit break is after farming all of the units in rows 3, 2, and 1. Or if you don't have 1, rows 2 and 3. The first one you absolutely want to have is Treasure Map Big Mom. She can go on any team and be useful. She is really good. The second unit you do want to farm up is Robin. She has a lot of utility. It's very difficult to replace her right now, and she is still very good on Japan as well. Treasure Map Nami is one that can be replaced by many rare recruits in the game, but if you don't have these rare recruits that do the same utility as her, you can check all the units special on the OPTC database. It's a resource that you should be using if you're playing Japan, and even if you're playing global, you should be using this as well. It's a fantastic website. I will leave the link in the description down below. But this is a unit that can be skipped over, but it is my recommendation to pick her up as your third Treasure Map mode unit as well. There are loads of other good Treasure Map mode units you need to be picking up as well, but by that point in the game, after you're able to farm up 2 or 3 Treasure Map mode units and catch up, I'm sure you'll already understand by that point which units you should be looking at to pick up from the treasure map shop. Next up, we have a bunch of 60 stamina Colosseums. Now, these are honestly quite easy by today's standards. We've got Enel, Necromamushi, Neptune, and Magellan. Now, all of these are very, very, very good units, universally useful units, but they do offer some restrictions on your team. So this one, Enel or Eminem, is requiring you to have a driven captain, but that's only for half of his special. The first half of his special, which is attack down and paralysis removal, is universally good. It's a very, very good combination for a free-to-play unit, and if you want an extra chain boost, it works for your driven team as well. But a very good unit that everybody should have in their box. He has been the MVP countless times on Japan and global, so please do farm him up. He's actually currently, as of making this video, on rotation on Japan right now as well, so you should really be farming him up right now. Next up, we have Necromamushi. Necromamushi is probably the oldest piece of content on this list for the Colosseums. Very, very easy. A block orb manipulator and a powerhouse and striker 1.75 times attack booster. Basically changes your whole board of orbs into matching orbs as long as the enemy has a debuff or delay protector. Very, very good special, and had a lot of longevity, although he has fallen off and seen less use today because there are so many rare recruits that basically do the same thing as him. Next up, we have Colosseum Neptune. Now, Colosseum Neptune is a bit of an interesting one. As a sub, his special is really, really good for powerhouse and cerebral units. Removes 5 turns of despair, removes 5 turns of enemy resilience, 3 turns of 1.75 times orb boost for powerhouse and cerebral units. However, his captain ability for a new player that does not have Legend Jack is godlike. His captain ability will boost your EXP earned by a significant amount, and you can basically use him to farm up a lot of fortnights and get yourself way more EXP and way more pirate levels, which means more gems and more EXP stamina basically. So you do want to go ahead and do that. And when I say more gems, I just mean you have more stamina to farm up more stuff, and you basically have more time to play the game, more efficiency. So yes, Neptune is very, very, very tasty. He's a great unit, and you do want to pick him up. I still use him every single day because unfortunately I do not have Legend Jack. The last one on this list is going to be Colosseum Magellan. Honestly, one of the best Colosseum units, if not the very best Colosseum unit in the game. When you start wanting to up your damage profile with your teams, he is most likely going to be the go-to unit to go to, because not only does he offer some utility, he also offers a conditional boost which can be used in so many different places, and he is a very, very good damage booster for your teams. So I highly recommend farming him up. I'm not sure if he has an underground. If he doesn't, that's going to be a shame because he is a really good unit. And you do want to be farming him on 60 stamina anyway because you want to get that guaranteed drop. So that is row 4 completed. Moving on to the final row, last but not least, apologies for the lack of energy in this video, guys. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I am actually losing my voice here. I've been streaming every single day for like 10 plus hours doing the treasure map mode. And right now I am falling behind on the treasure map mode, so I am kind of panicking a bit. But that's a bit of a tangent. Sorry if that confused you. You can ignore all of that. The first 2 units here are going to be Kizuna Battle and Kizuna Kessen units, Marco and Ace, and Zoro and Sanji. These 2 units are superb top tier captains and top tier subs as a free to play unit. You absolutely want to farm up anytime Kizuna Battle comes on. Every single month they should be available. You want to grind out all the way to box 7. This is going to be a very tedious grind because you're catching up on months upon months of missed content to try and catch up. It's a long grind, but it is 100% worth it because these units are honestly game changers for free-to-play units, and so many teams will require them for you to have the highest possible damage output. You definitely want to get these 2 units, but Kizuna Battle is a very long milestone away. Don't worry too much about it, although you do want to, if you can, hit box 7, and you'll understand what I mean by box 7 the first time you do Kizuna Battle. There are 7 boxes where you can level up and get rewards from. You want to get to box 7 ASAP while collecting all of box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 as well. You don't need to collect everything in there, but you want to collect the main prizes of box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, And then when you get to box 7, you'll be able to farm up the crystals and materials for all of these old units, Marco and Ace, and also Sanji and Zoro, that you may have missed out on in the past. Again, it's a very long, tedious grind, but it is so worth it. I cannot stress how good these two units are to the game. Kizuna battle units are always very good, because they're like 5-6 month units to grind out. So very good units. Moving on, we have got one of the best, if not the best, free-to-play unit in the game. At one point in the game, she was head and shoulders uncontested the best free-to-play unit in the game, and just flat out one of the best units in the game. It is Invasion Raid Charlotte Linlin. Now, she is quite difficult to farm up, especially if you're new to the game, or you're still at the basic level of the game, or early on in the game. Very difficult to farm up, and also kind of tedious to farm, because you need to basically challenge her directly after doing another raid boss. And most of the time it's going to be a 60 stamina raid boss, and your team will have to be, how invasion raids work, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is you do a normal standard raid. Say you do any of the raids in row 3, depending on the time of the week or which week of the month it is, because these are always on rotation. You can always look this up in game. There are different raid bosses, invasion raid bosses, that come directly after you beat the 60 stamina of like Raid Barto or Raid Zoro or Raid Rayleigh. You beat them, you have like a 20% chance or something that Invasion Linden will show up, depending on which week it is. It might be Invasion Cavendish, Invasion Shanks, Invasion Young Whitebeard, or Invasion Garp. Any of these can show up. It really depends on which week of the month you're on, or which, basically what the rotation is. You're gonna have to look this up yourself, but you're gonna have to challenge them directly after with the exact same team that just beat the 60 stamina you did. So that's why it's very tedious to farm up these invasion raids. But Invasion Linden, at this point in the game, you should know, when you're looking at to farm these units directly, you should know how to take these on. But yes, I can't give you any direct recommendations right now for teams, but Invasion Linden, a definite must-have unit, just like Invasion Garb. Now, Invasion Garb honestly doesn't see that much gameplay, but when he does, it's because he's the only one that can do what he does. The other rare recruit, or the other unit, being a rare recruit called Sugar, and she doesn't even do it anywhere near as good as Invasion Garb. He's able to eliminate an enemy that's already under 25% HP, which is really good. Like, instantly eliminate them, which is really good. So you do want that. And then Skull next to them. Now, this is meant to mean this skull. A lot of people don't know where to get this crystal skull. You can buy these from the Rayleigh shop for 10,000 points. That is like one of the biggest noob moves you can do. Only noobs do that, or only extremely rich, wealthy Rayleigh point merchants can do that. So please don't do that. It's a complete waste of your Rayleigh points. You want to be able to farm these up on like Invasion Shanks, Invasion Young Whitebeard, Invasion Cavendish, which are really easy invasions. These tend to drop from stage 4, not just purple, all colors, red, purple, green, blue, and yellow. All of them will drop at a random rate on stage 4 of any invasion raid. So please do farm up all your invasions. If you can beat any invasion boss, you should be farming them up. And that is, guys, the free-to-play / new account / basic level or early game stage player roadmap. These are the main units you should be looking at. Keep an eye out for Colosseum rotations. Keep an eye out for invasion rotations, apologies. As you can see, I'm quite stressed. My hair is drooping down. But yes, that is the roadmap, guys. Hopefully that made sense, and hopefully this was useful to you guys. Again, if you're on global, the first row is not available right now, but it will be available in the future. The first row is not necessary unless you're in Japan. So don't worry too much about that. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you do have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section down below. I will hopefully be replying to as many of them as possible. So thank you so much for watching once again, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.